What would you say are three things that they should be doing to ensure that they're not one of the 80% of the people that start in real estate that are not going to be here a year from now?
That's a great question. So you have to give yourself enough time and you have to actually do the work. So here's a prescription that I'm going to give anyone who's wondering if they should quit or not. Start with 6 months. Say, I'm going to give this 6 months, no matter how much it hurts, no matter how much I don't like it, I will not quit unless I've given it full 6 months.
Welcome everyone to the Mark Ramey Podcast. I have the good fortune today of learning, growing, and understanding more about Jessica Nelson. And the reason why I'm so excited to be here with her today is Jessica, in her business and in her life and with her team, she's literally on fire. She inspires me as I watch her. And so I have the privilege of asking Jessica some great questions so that we can all learn from this amazing icon in our industry of real estate. So Jessica, welcome to the show.
Wow, that was a huge introduction. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course.
It's amazing to be here with you. You're an icon too.
Thank you kindly, Jessica. So, what I'm aware of is that there are things that bring us to where we're at in life, and it's not all, it sometimes can be the good, bad, and the indifferent or ugly. Tell me, how did you get to where you're at? How did you get into real estate and where you're at today? Tell me a little bit about you.
Wow, that's a big question. Okay, so I started in Hoboken, New Jersey, and probably like most of you, I was at the age where being a bottle girl was, the jobs were fewer. I mean, when we're over 35, how many jobs can we get for our looks anymore, guys? And, I didn't really feel like not having a big corporate background, like what was I going to go do, right? So real estate, fortunately for all of us, is a pretty low bar to entry. It's a 75 on a test, and it's, sheer will when we get started. So I watched a few of those TV shows, and I said, if Frederick Eklund, the former porn star, can do it, why can't I?
I love that.
Did you know that one of the most successful realtors of all time, you could watch him doing acts on camera right now if you Google him?
I didn't know that. You see, the things that
anyone can make it.
I love it. The things that we learn. So, so what I'm hearing is, and what my thoughts are going to is, you went through some significant change, and that change brought you to your current career. I've heard it said that the most successful people in life are successful for two reasons. The first is they learn quickly. Tell me about that. And also the second is they're comfortable leaning into change. So you've experienced change. Tell me what these two statements mean to you.
Okay, so the first was not true for me at all. I went on 25 listing appointments. I failed 24 times before someone finally signed an agreement with me, number 25. So I would say I was not a quick learner. And actually, for all of you who are just starting on this journey of prospecting and you're feeling like this doesn't work or maybe this isn't for me, it works. You're not doing enough of it. And I didn't really realize that in the beginning because I thought, okay, I talked to somebody. That means they're supposed to give me an appointment. No. You need to talk to like 50 people or 100 before someone gives you your first appointment. And then you have to go on lots of appointments until you realize that the right things to say and the right questions to ask. So for me, I was not a quick learner at all. It took me a while, and it's okay if it takes you a long time too. Don't give up on yourself just because it's hard. I mean, what other career can you go into where if you say the right things, some of you watching, like your average price point is like $700,000, like California, Miami, New York, Chicago. That's $15,000, $20,000, depending on what your average commission is. for, saying the right things in an appointment. There's not too many careers where you have that opportunity. So don't think it's going to come easy. You're going to get some bumps and bruises. What was your second question?
So the second idea, you said, I don't learn quickly is what you addressed. And, quite frankly, um, 80% of the people that get into our industry in a year from now, they're not going to be here. So, you know, you going on 25 listing presentations and receiving one listing, um, that's a lot of socks to the jaw. I guess I'm curious, how how did you find the tenacity to keep getting up? I mean, what was it that caused you to keep moving forward?
As a society, we give up too quickly on everything. If you're the person who goes to the gym for a week and you say, well, I don't see results, I quit, don't get into real estate. This is not for you. If you're the type of person who every time you have a disagreement in a relationship, you ghost them,
Mhm.
don't get into real estate. The people who are going to do well at this understand the value of relationships plus value over time and the true effort it takes. Like most workout people, we have Austin and Ben and a lot of these people in our group that they're either professional bodybuilders or they just really avid and active. When you ask them how long does it take to see change, they say like 6 months to a year. And people who've been married for 40, 50 years, like you, Mark, you've been married a long time. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into that. You don't just at the first time of difficulty go, you know what? I'm done.
I'm out of here.
See you later.
No.
And it's the same thing in real estate. You just have to truly believe, like, hey, this is it. I am going to find the way or make the way, and there's no other choice. So I'm going to keep failing until I get it right. This is the mentality you have to have because it's not easy. Anything worth having is not easy. So just like really give yourself no other choice. For me, I didn't. Like I need to make to support my lifestyle. I like nice things and I don't want to depend on a man for it. And I don't have rich parents that, gave me a fund. I have to make 400,000 a year. Like I have to. And I'm not giving up my lifestyle. I'm not asking my kids to give up their lifestyle. We like nice shit. So I just was like, okay, I don't think a corporate job is going to give me that. Like I would have to have way more things in my resume to get that job offer. Like it's just not going to happen. I'm at an age in my life where like, bottle girls, modeling, like all these jobs were just not going to provide me that type of money. Like, what was my choice? I was either going to have to marry somebody that was super rich, which I did not want to do, marry someone only for money
Mhm.
or depend on them because people change their mind. I had to figure out a way. So to me, I was like, I know that real estate is the way. I've seen so many other people do it. So there's proof that it's possible. It's just a matter of whether or not I am going to rise to the challenge. So we have to keep going. We cannot give up when things get hard. It gets hard because it's not for everyone. It's supposed to be hard.
Well, when we come from that perspective and know that it's going to be hard going in, I think it sets ourselves up for knowing what we've got to do. And what I heard as you were just speaking, I wrote down um, relationships. And I can't tell you how many times when you were addressing your success, I heard the word I. In other words, I've heard it said,
Oops.
if it's, and what I mean is if it's to be, it's up to me. You claim that. I mean, you might not have
Yeah.
used those exact words, but that's what I'm hearing resounding through everything that you're doing. It's like, no, I'm not going to give my life over to someone else to decide whether I have the life that I want or not. And there's no victim language in you, and I love that. So I think that's part of
Thank,
what makes you inspiring.
thank you.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
think all of us have been conditioned to believe that someone is going to save us. And at some point in our lives, we realize that it's not accurate. The only person who's going to save us is us.
Yeah, very well said. That's true. So I'm curious. I know that I observe what you do in our organization, and you've got one of the largest teams in our organization. It's inspiring to watch you do this. What are you doing right now that's helping you and your team be successful? Like, how are you creating the culture that's causing everybody to want the success as much as clearly I'm seeing that you want this success?
Oh, thank you for that. And I think I'm really blessed to have good people. I give them the credit more than anything because they keep showing up for themselves. It is so hard as a brand new person to be on a prospecting call in a role play group 7:30 Monday through Friday without fail. And I witnessed Ben Tackett, Austin Richardson, Liz Casares, Sophia Martinez. Yeah, I'm calling you guys out because you deserve recognition. Liz, Claudia, Posh, like all of you don't give up on yourself. So how could I give up on you? We are this community because it is hard right now. Like even great realtors, I'm sure if you're like a great realtor watching this, even you can say, yeah, things are a little tougher than they used to be.
They
We're
are.
having different conversations.
They are. Yep.
We need that community. We need people to like pick us up when we're down. We need people to check us when we're wrong. We need people to like make fun of us and giggle and laugh and make jokes with each other when it's just like lighten the mood a little. So I'm just really grateful. People give me credit for creating the community, but the community created itself. And I just happened to, start it, I would say. But it's growing because of the amazing people who are in it and who they're attracting.
Okay, so thank you for that. Now I wrote down a couple things here. First, I wrote down we need that community. That's true. We don't succeed alone. I think that's very wise
Yeah.
for us to be on
It's
an
very
island.
lonely being a realtor right now, don't you think,
Oh,
Mark? Like,
yeah, it would be, especially if we don't have that team around us that knows what we want. And I love when you said that tells us when we're wrong. Someone that has the willingness to do that, because I don't know, for me, when I've discovered in my experiences, my best relationships are the people that are willing to really let me know when I'm out of line, when I'm out of integrity from doing what I said that I wanted to do. When I've got someone in my life that's willing to do that for me, there's nothing that can stop me. So, I guess
it actually shows that people really care about you, right? Because they're not fake with you.
correct.
They're like,
Yeah,
they're real.
they want it as much as you do, and so they're willing to give that level of authenticity and be vulnerable and own their shit. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
You said 7:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday. Tell me, what are you doing at 7:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday? And why would I need to do that if I want to be successful in this business? Talk to
So
me.
we role play together, and usually, there's only like two people that can role play. So some people listen, some people participate, and people get their list together of who they're going to call. People get, their we all have prospecting sheets. We get together and they just get ready to start making their calls. Usually they start at 8.
Okay. So they're on the phones by 8. And what are they role playing? I mean, for an agent that's never really done this, why would it be important that I would spend time role playing?
So we role play the kind of conversations that you're going to have with people who might be interested in selling their homes. There's a lot of different sources, but most people are calling a source called expireds and canceled. Expireds and canceled are someone who tried to sell their home and was not able to get it sold. So the listing either expired or canceled. And what we do as agents is we call them and we find out what happened. And then we diagnose the issue, much like a doctor would, to figure out whether or not we can assist them with this problem. And then if it seems like it's a good fit, where the agent who made the call has a solution for the homeowner's selling problem, then they set up what's called a listing appointment.
Nice. And are those good opportunities for you and your team members?
So on my board right now, I have 12 listings that I've personally taken in like 40 days or a little less, think it was 38 days to be exact.
Wait a minute. You've taken 12 listings personally in 38 days?
Yes. And those are all expireds.
Okay.
There's been a lot of them recently.
The audience right now, this is why we are listening to Jessica, because who do you know that's taken 12 listings in the last 38 days? I don't know many people that have done that. So tell me, Jessica, if I'm role playing, what are the benefits that I'm going to receive as an agent? And then what are the benefits that my client will receive because I've taken the time to study my craft and get better at it? Why is that important?
That's a great question. It prepares you to better serve your client, because sometimes people are going to ask you questions from left field. And if you're not used to them, you may not have a solution. So the person you're role playing with might have more experience, or the people who are in the room with you might have more experience, and they can politely dive in and say, here's the handler. Here's what you could say. Here's what you could do to help them. And now, instead of you being an agent on your own and struggling on your island, not knowing what to say, what to do, and letting this potential client, this potential $10,000, $15,000 walk out of your door, you're actually able to retain them because you learned in role play, oh, this is the solution.
So what I'm hearing is as you spend time understanding how to communicate at a higher level with these people, there's a greater chance for a connection to happen.
Exactly.
Okay.
And as a brand new agent, you don't want to take 3 years stumbling over this. When you role play with someone better than you, it happens right away. So you cut the line to success.
It's a fast track.
For some of, like Mark and I, who've been doing it for a long time, we're giving you all the secrets so you can get to like the level that it took Mark 10, 15 years to get to in like 1 year.
Yeah. Let's use a hack and let's get to some success quicker. That makes a lot of sense. The other thing that I'm aware of in my experience when calling expireds, or for that matter, any clients, when we know what to say and how to respond, what I've observed is it gives me the ability to listen better. And if I'm listening better, that connection happens a lot quicker. Would you agree with that? Have you experienced that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know what happens when you listen better?
What? Tell me.
You sometimes find out they're not really a client, or they're not really a seller.
Why is that important?
Well, I mean, what's the price of gas right now?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Don't be petty. If it's a real client, spend your gas. Like we make the money. I'm just joking.
Well, more specifically, you said I'll find out if they're a real client. What does that?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I was on the phone today with someone, and they have their for sale by owner, and which is another great source, guys. For sale by owners are amazing, and the home seems like it's priced right. It doesn't seem to have any problems that would prevent a closing, like inspection issues. And I was a little shocked that he didn't get any offers even for sale by owner. And, the more I talked to him, the guy's like, oh, I didn't go to show the property to the buyers because I had a bridge game. Now, let me ask you, do you believe that seller's motivated to sell if playing cards is more important than showing the home?
No.
So we sometimes find things out by listening.
Yeah. I think that's the most important thing that you've just said, is listening is going to give us the key or the cue to understand what's most important to that client. That's very well said, Jessica. Thank you. So, on the note of expireds, what are 3 like lines to use that, if I was listening to this podcast today, that I could step away and boy, this is going to be like money in the bank because I'm aware of these things. Can you give us some ideas, like just a few things of like, if I'm calling expired, what should I be prepared for?
So immediately when you get on the phone, get into what they want. Stop saying things like, I'm agent so-and-so, or I'm with such and such company. They do not care about you. Don't talk about yourself. What you want to say once you have a live human on the other line is it still a priority for you and your family to get this home sold for top dollar, or have your plans simply changed forever? And you say forever with a stop so that it's very definite. That's number one. Number two, you could say something like, well, I can see that you're in a lovely location and it looks like you spent a lot of capital on upgrading this property. Why were you even thinking about moving? These are questions that get people talking about what's really going on versus, oh my God, another realtor, leave me alone.
And you're asking questions about what's important to them.
Mm-hmm.
You're not verbally vomiting on them and saying, oh, I did this, or I can get you more, faster, faster, more. People don't move because it can happen faster. People don't move because they can get more. Why do people move, Jessica? What's the real reason?
Her feelings, closer to family, away from someone they don't want to live with anymore.
Yeah.
Feelings, better school district, many different reasons, but you're not going to get that information if your agent's Jane Doe from Joe Schmo Realty. Stop. Don't do that anymore. They don't care your name. They don't care about your company. And unless you're Ryan Serhant, they definitely don't know who you are.
No, well said. And I wrote down, as you were saying this, I think this is so important. Is it still a priority for you to sell, or have your plans changed forever? Bam. Because that's really definitive, right?
Mm-hmm. I started adding top dollar to it simply because the market has decreased.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the first objections that you guys are going to get is, if I got my price. It's always about price. So it kind of eliminates that objection when you say top dollar. So I've started adding that to that sentence.
Everybody, if you're listening to this, I want to point out these are little nuances that, the first time you pick up a phone and call an expired, you may not know to say these things. And now you're hearing these little teeny things that can make a difference. That's going to, within the first, 5 to 15 seconds of someone being on the phone with you, that they're willing to stay on the phone with you because you're saying something that appeals to them. Because those first 15 seconds, in my experience, tell me what you think. It's like riding a bull. And I mean, what happens the first 15 seconds that the bull rider is on the bull?
Yeah.
I mean, that bull is like, get off my back. I got to go. I'm leaving. So it's critical. And that's why you're practicing. Thank you for sharing that. That's huge. So you mentioned expireds, okay, and that's valuable, so that there can be proof for our audience. Tell me, what have expireds done for you in the last, say, 12 months? What does that look like for you? How many expireds have you listed?
Well, those 13 that I took in the past 38 days, actually, I think I might have said 12, it's 13. Those were all expireds, and I had 2 already closed last month, and I referred one out because it was a little further than I was willing to go. So I had this is real life.
Yeah.
Someone else is probably experiencing this too. I had just moved, and my credit card bill was like $40,000 from just moving, like all the expenses. I repainted, all these things. And it was like, oh boy, this is a big bill. I just got on the phones and I closed 2.5 deals within like 38 days, 40 days, whatever it was. And I paid that entire bill, all of it.
Wow.
From prospecting.
Wow.
So prospecting to me is a very real way of being able to provide for my family.
Now, as opposed to, I was speaking to an agent the other day, and she actually said, I can't come to role play because I have to sit floor time. And what immediately came to my mind, Jessica, is, are you a waiter or are you a generator? And what I can remember, because
don't have to tolerate.
You got
Point
it.
blank, period.
What does generate so I don't have to tolerate mean? Explain that to the people that
Yeah,
are
great
listening.
question. So I had a couple of sellers that were just really difficult, unkind people. I chose not to work with them, even though I had listed their properties. I referred it to somebody else who just doesn't want to prospect, which is fine. Not every realtor has to be a prospector. And, I received a referral, so I'm still going to make money, but I didn't have to deal with these people on a daily basis who were just generally difficult, that made me sad, that made me not want to talk to them. And I moved on to clients who were appreciative, kind, and going to sell their homes and highly motivated. So agents who are actively seeking business, you don't have to tolerate bullshit.
Yeah.
If people treat you badly, get rid of them. Move on to somebody who really needs you, that's going to be appreciative of the high level of skills that you practiced and you made yourself so good at.
When you're bringing in 13 listings and one or two of them is, not nice people, you have options, is what I'm hearing you
Bye.
say. Yeah, exactly.
And
And
it's beautiful for your team too, like for your downline, Mark. Sorry to interrupt you,
yeah,
because everyone around you can eat. Like, I don't know about people watching this, but I like to help other people. It makes me happy.
yep.
So if someone who's maybe shy or just starting or struggling, and I can say, hey, this seller's difficult, but they do need to sell. Do you want this? And they're like, oh my God, yes. I think that's good for both of
Yeah.
us. Like, I think we help each other.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rich. On that note, what I've observed about you is you made a transition and you started building a team when you came to EXP. Tell me a little bit about that journey and why did you choose EXP?
Well, I was a very failed team leader at other brokerages. I was wonderful at training my competition. I was grade A at that.
What do you mean by that? Training your competition. Tell me more about that.
I mean, there are some fantastic agents that I have trained them and given them all the tools, and now we're in competition with each other. Actually, some of them are now coming to EXP because we do really like each other.
Mm-hmm.
But any great agent in a traditional brokerage model, you're just not going to stay on a team. Like, why would you, for the rest of your life, pay somebody 25%, 40%, whatever the split is, to be on the team when you're skilled and when you're a hunter? Like, you're not going to do that. So I found that I was just like, I was, I was a very good corporate trainer for some of my previous companies. I gave myself that title because I trained so many of their top agents.
And as joking as you can be about that, um, I mean, that's frustrating, right?
Yeah.
I mean, here you are, you're pouring into people, and once you've poured into them, they get to a certain level of, oh, this is, I've arrived. They're gone.
Yes. Yes.
So why is it important for this shift and this change? Why is it important to be
Yeah.
at EXP versus where you were previously? What makes that different?
The model is incredible, guys. Like, if you're watching this and you're like Mark and I, who have, we have a giver's heart, a servant's heart, and maybe you're feeling a little bit used by all of the experiences that you've had of wanting to help people, and then they just either left your team or left your brokerage because you couldn't pay them more. The structure just didn't allow it. EXP is your solution. It has changed my life, changed Mark's life. And it's really because we get to be the givers that we naturally are. And we're rewarded for it within the model. And also, the agent is rewarded for it. Their loyalty is rewarded as well because they are able to continue to grow and improve the value of the stock and improve their rev share. So it's just been a total game changer for people who are naturally leaders and want to help others.
What I'm hearing you describe is a culture of giving and productivity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I'm also hearing you say is that because of the way the structure of the model is, you are incentivized to share everything you have. Now, you've recently gone through a significant change in your life. And I think you've made some smart decisions so that
Thank you.
you could refocus. Tell me a little bit about that, because it almost seems like right now, as I watch and observe Jessica, you don't have just a real estate business. You have, it's like your own brokerage, and yet you don't have the expenses looming over your head of a brokerage. Tell me why that happened and what's appealing about that for you.
Yeah, if you've been running a business for a long time or a smaller brokerage, mid-sized brokerage, it is I feel for you because I see how expensive it is to keep it going. And not the expense only of like dollars and cents, but also the emotional, spiritual, mental exertion of being drained by so many humans that necessarily aren't giving back to you. The EXP model allows for you to, it's a total game changer in that A, it eliminates those expenses. You won't have to worry about how am I going to pay the rent? How am I going to pay all these dang printers in here? All of the things that is expected of you now because of the cut that you're taking or whatever your split is with your agents, that's eliminated. And then the other thing that happens for you is there's so much more support. So, like I know as a team leader and a broker, you don't have time for an agent that calls you about like, how do I fill out this form? Or how do I do, I'm in an argument with such and such realty. How do I take care of it? You don't have to do that anymore. There's an entire brokerage staff that answers your agent's calls 24/7, and they're really good.
Hmm.
Like some of their answers are actually better than yours because this is their entire job. Their entire job is serving your agents. So, the people who are listening to this right now, if you're a brokerage owner or a team leader, it is game changing for you. I would reach out to someone that you know, like, and trust with EXP and ask them for something specific. So there's a tool, it's a numbers tool, and it compares exactly how much you're profiting right now in your current team structure or brokerage structure versus how much you would profit from rev share if you were to make the switch. And it gives you the dollar to dollar
Wow.
comparative analysis. If you have an interest in something like this, you can reach out to Mark, you can reach out to myself, you can reach out to our mentor, Aaron, if you don't already have, a close friend at EXP that you trust a lot. And it would be completely confidential. We understand that your position, people really, there has to be a lot of discretion. So, you could reach out to any one of us and we would ensure that discretion is high for you.
I think you said something that's really important. Understanding where the numbers can be, and also where I can get time freedom and location freedom back again. The brokerage, I was with a brokerage for 15 years and I owned part of that brokerage. And when I left that brokerage, our expenses were like $85,000 a month. And
Jeez.
I just kind of saw the writing on the wall, and I became aware that with the model that EXP has, with there being everything in the cloud, there's no physical expenses. And now when I look back, and I was very opposed to leaving that model because I had deep relationships. You know what I mean? I'm a pretty loyal person, and I don't just make moves easily, especially 15-year relationships. And what I'm aware of now as I look back is the person that was the owner of that office, she actually ended up being the market center administrator because she had to pare down expenses so much. And when I just, if I could reach out to that person and just offer them another opportunity, my agreement with them keeps me from doing that, which,
Yeah.
but, I really care about that.
Maybe they're watching and they could reach out to someone.
No,
Someone in your organization.
yeah, exactly. Maybe they could be
Who
in
do you have in your organization right now? Who's on your front line?
so I've got Joel is on my front line. I've also,
What's Joel's last name so that people know how to reach out to him?
yeah. So, Freddie Alkakispi, and wouldn't you know it, you put me on the spot, and I got to get Joel's name out of my phone. Thanks. All right, well, let's fix that right now. I do want to get his name out there. So Joel Fries, right?
Joel Freeze.
I've got great
Is
people.
he on Instagram?
Pardon?
Is he on Instagram?
He is. Yes, he is.
Okay.
And Freddie.
So if you're anybody who knows Mark from his previous life and you're interested, reach out to Joel
Contact Joel or Freddie.
or Freddie.
And you know what? We can help you. You can have time, location, freedom, and also you can have. I mean, I know that there's opportunity for income without even doing transactions at times. So there's more ways than just real estate. You can get off the transaction treadmill. So
Absolutely.
well,
interesting that you said something there, like you can get off the transaction treadmill. So I only have 45 agents, which may sound like a lot to some people, but it's really not, because once you attract 10 people, those 10 people tend to attract people.
yeah,
So it kind of goes on its own. And even with only 45 people, I'm doing between like 5 and 6,500 a month in rev share.
that's huge.
So, right. Like most people watching this, that will cover at least half of their bills, if not more.
I'm sure it's covering the minimum payment on your Visa bill. I'm just no, but seriously, I mean that for many people that will cover housing, food, insurance, and transportation, and that makes you financially free and independent. And
yeah.
and to have that as a resource.
Let's be clear, guys. Like I'm not an influencer. I'm not you don't have to be, what you probably think you need to be an agent attractor. You just literally have to put the word out there and put some effort into it.
And yet I remember I wrote this down from the beginning of when we started talking. Value over time equals relationships. That's the formula. And so even though you may not consider yourself an influencer, Jessica, you're providing agents value. I mean, you're providing them opportunities. You're there every morning in the trenches with them at 7:30 in the morning. That's huge value. You're giving of your time and your talent.
Watching, don't be discouraged. Like, oh, I can't do that, so why would I try? You have your upline. You're like, if you're partnered with Mark, if you're partnered with Dan Masrobian, if you're partnered with Aaron, Brian Modillo, with me, like, don't feel like you have to be a top agent to attract people. You have your upline partners, your mentors in this organization who can do it for you. So, like, please don't be discouraged listening to this, thinking like, oh, well, I'm not Jessica, I'm not Mark, why would anyone partner with me? Use your mentors.
Well, that's well said, because the fastest way that I've learned, and I think I started off by saying the most successful people learn quickly. The fastest way that I've ever learned is getting proximity to people that are doing more than me. It was like it was like the hack for understanding how I could do the same thing. And quite frankly, in our organization, there are people that are doing way, way more than myself and Jessica. And the benefit to us and to you is that you have access to these people. There's no limit to what your success and productivity can become. So,
absolutely.
I guess if we were to round this off with I think advice for the agent that would be watching this call, what would you say are 3 things that they should be doing to ensure that they're not one of the 80% of the people that start in real estate that are not going to be here a year from now? What would you have them focus on, Jessica?
It's a great question. So you have to give yourself enough time and you have to actually do the work.
Mm.
So here's the prescription that I'm going to give anyone who's wondering if they should quit or not. Start with 6 months. Say, I'm going to give this 6 months, no matter how much it hurts, no matter how much I don't like it, I will not quit unless I've given it full 6 months. And in those 6 months, you're going to do these following things. You're going to spend a minimum of 2 hours a day doing outreach prospecting. Outreach prospecting is making phone calls, door knocks, or targeted social media content. And actually, I remove content. You need to do 2 hours of either phone calls or door knocks to some sort of source. If you cannot afford a dialing system gives you access to expireds, canceled, and like area data, so you can do circle prospecting. If you can't afford that, start with FSBOs. That's how I started. I had no money to buy these things. I went on Zillow.com and FSBO.com and I saw, okay, these are people trying to sell their home. So maybe they need a realtor. Mm-hmm. Start with those people if you can't afford a system. The other thing you can start with if you can't afford a system, you have to have access to MLS if you're a realtor. So look in a neighborhood that you like or that you feel comfortable in and find the highest sale that happened in the past month. Now you're going to make a flyer with your face on it and pictures of that home. And you're going to write, did you see that your neighbor just got this home sold for X price? What about you? If someone knocked on your door with this amount, would you consider moving? If this is of interest to you, give me a call. Put your name on it. When you do that knock and that flyer, no one's going to know that you haven't sold a home. No one's going to ask you how long you've been in business because you just gave them information that's valuable to them that no one else is giving them. So they already assume that you're an area expert. They're not going to ask you those questions. So do at least 2 hours a day in these 6 months of outreach. You're going to spend 1 hour a day practicing your skills because it's great to do the work, but unless you actually have the skills, you're going to be running around in circles and getting frustrated.
Yeah.
So what is practice, guys? 1 hour of practice, I'm going to ask you to do 30 minutes of role play. Pick someone who's better than you. Don't be a little bitch. Don't go with people that don't know what they're doing. Go with people that have done deals before that scare you. The scarier they are, the better you're going to get. And you can go on sources like Facebook groups, like real estate Facebook groups. There's thousands of them. And ask, hey, I need a role play partner, 7:30 Friday morning. Who's available? Find people and ask them questions like, how many deals have you done? How long have you been in the industry? If they say something like, I've never done a deal, don't role play with them. So you're going to do 30 minutes of role play and 30 minutes of script writing. I'm giving you bare minimums, by the way. And I've still only given you 3 hours a day for 5 days a week. That's a part-time job. That's not even a full-time job. If you do these things for the next 6 months and you do not quit, I guarantee at the end of 6 months, you'll have had 6 sold homes and you're going to think you were a genius.
So Jessica,
if you actually do it.
This is a powerful formula. And if you're watching this will bring the success that she's sharing. And here's the thing to consider. If you're watching this, the thing to remember is, for a doctor or an attorney to practice, how long do they have to go to school and study before they make dime one?
Oh my God.
Now, what Jessica has given us is a formula that in 6 months, we're earning while we're learning. And one of the things that I would really, really point out is she said, if you're afraid of someone, that's who you want to seek out. That's so, so critical because the people that we're afraid of are doing more than us. And that's a fast track to learning. Jessica, this is rich, rich information. And by the way, there's a role play group that you can have access to that happens every Wednesday with people that I and Jessica are afraid to role play with, by the way. And it happens every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern. So we can get you connected. Just reach out to us. We're here for you. Wow. Jessica, you superseded my expectations as to what you were going to deliver to this audience. And the audience really is people that want to be successful in real estate. It comes as no surprise to me why you have 45 people that are willing to step forward and say, I'll follow Jessica. I'm here because she's here for me. I'm really grateful for the time that you've taken to teach me and teach this audience what you know today. I'm grateful for you spending your time. And it's clear that you're committed to your success and the success of the people around you. So if people want to learn more from you, Jessica, how would they get in touch with you? You're in Dallas market, aren't you?
I am. I'm in Dallas, Texas. My Instagram is at the Lone Star Unicorn, Lone Star Unicorn. I'm also a real estate coach now with the Aaron Novello organization. So if you're a higher producer, because it is a little pricey and you want to hone your skills and take your career to the next level, I do have a wait list right now, but people change their mind about coaching all the time. So there might be a space for you. And if there's anything else I can do to help you guys, reach out to me anytime. I have random people that reach out to me on social media, like will send me, I had this objection. What's the handler? And I'll give you the handler.
That's rich. And I know she will because I've actually reached out to her that way and she responds because she cares. Jessica, thank you. This has been awesome. I appreciate you very much. And let's go. Let's grow, huh?